Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the channel. Dylan here. We have some major bombshell arrests that have just taken place that you do not want to miss. And breaking news, a New York State Capitol attack. FBI details the latest news here, and we are seeing some record-breaking arrests taking place right now during the Trump administration. Comment below, what do you guys think about these arrests? Do you guys think there should be more arrests? Or are there too many? So many of you have messaged me saying that your investments are up thousands of dollars. We are now running a 90% off sale on the Invest Like Trump program. The link is below, or you can type in thefinanцezone.org. And when you sign up, you will get up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. Police arrest illegal immigrant in stabbing death of Virginia mother. This is the latest viral news. Let's listen into the latest details.
All right, so that is Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis talking about this heinous crime that occurred in a very quiet neighborhood not far from Great Falls Park, which is a federal park. It was a state county park where this murder actually occurred. 42-year-old woman was murdered by her alleged lover at this crime scene. I got to tell you, I know the area quite well. It's not far from where I used to live. In fact, less than a quarter of a mile from where I used to live. And it's a very quiet area, nice neighborhood, multi-million-dollar homes, private schools in the area, some small farms as well as the park. So this really has shocked residents in this area as to how, Sandra, this could have happened.
Yeah, that 19-year-old suspect is now in custody, as confirmed by the sheriff just there. The victim, as you stated, a mother of a 3-year-old girl, 42 years old. The police chief there making it very clear that victim was stabbed by this man repeatedly, saying no one deserves this. I can only imagine what the Pooch family is feeling in this moment. But to your point, confirming that they were alleged lovers, the sheriff describing what he said was an intimate relationship between the two of them. But the evidence is very clear. He said that they have video of the suspect leaving that facility with the fixed blade knife. He described it as a large fixed blade knife, gloves, the water bottle that he used to fill with gasoline to later attempt to burn the victim. Just an incredibly awful story, start to finish, Sean.
Yeah, and it's one that we've heard many times before. Let's bring in Fox News legal editor Carrie Vaughn for more on this. An illegal immigrant now, apparently, according to the police chief, confessing to this heinous murder. And it would appear, even though he's charged with murder too, that there was premeditation to this. Picking up rubber gloves at the restaurant, a knife at the restaurant, and taking a water bottle that he filled with gasoline, with which, as the police chief Kevin Davis said, he tried to burn the victim after stabbing her.
Yeah, really horrible details. And John, like you, I've been really interested in this story for the last couple of days. It's really one of the only things my girlfriends and I have been talking about, because we know the park well. We've gone to it ourselves, and it was frightening that this could happen there. Now we know, though, that it was, not that it makes it any better, but it was targeted. It wasn't a random killing. But, you know, the first thought I had when I saw the news was, well, this is Steve Descano's Fairfax County, and he is the prosecutor, his office, who he's notoriously soft on crime, specifically when it comes to illegal immigrants. In fact, the Department of Justice is investigating his office right now because they have a policy that anybody can go and look up on its website that on its face gives preferential treatment to illegal immigrants when it comes to sentencing and plea deals and the like over just your average American criminal. And so because this happened there, this particular individual may have a better chance at those things than someone who was not an illegal immigrant here, which is crazy. Of course.
The fact that there's a full confession here, I mean, I'm sure that this is going to go to court unless he pleads guilty, which he might. So Steve Descano's hands may be tied in this particular case.
Yeah, you know, one would think, but let's not forget about that terrible stabbing that resulted in death that occurred at a bus station, also in Fairfax. That particular person was a repeat offender. He was an illegal immigrant, and he had 178 prior police interactions and had a long history of stabbing and malicious wounding. The police in Fairfax had basically pleaded with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, Descano's office, saying, hey, we can't keep letting this guy out. Something bad's going to happen. Someone's going to die, and someone did. And so, again, this is the context in which this murder has happened. But I certainly hope Toscano looks long and hard at this and brings this person to justice as he should.
You know, I got a statement from Department of Homeland Security. Reads in part, Biden and Mayorkas hand-delivered alleged killer Cedillos Campos to the streets of Fairfax County. They recklessly unleashed millions of unvetted illegal aliens into American communities and abused the law to do so. So, I mean, this goes back to...
What do you guys think about that? Are you pro the illegals being, released? Or do you think they should be deported? Comment your thoughts below.
Where all of those people were coming across the border illegally, and there wasn't even a lot of... They told us they were being vetted, but clearly there was a lot of gaps in whatever vetting was going on. But they just willy-nilly released millions of people into this country, and we've been reaping the results of that ever since, with so many murders at the hands of illegal aliens.
Right, and word gets around: sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, sanctuary policies. People know where they can go, and they're not going to get prosecuted as harshly or at all, and they can get away with literally murder. And it sounds so ridiculous, but it is what happens here. And what's sad is this alleged murderer here, 19 years old, John. So when did he come over the border? It was 2023, 24. I mean, this
24.
is 20. This is a young kid still who has just allegedly committed this horrific act and thrown his life away. It's just, it's all of this. It's terrible.
Well, the thing is, also, you got to keep in mind, it's like when people do come from other countries, they don't have similar laws here. That's why a lot of people are pro legal migration, or at least anti-illegal immigration, because it's like, I think many of us watching this don't mind people coming into this nation. However, when you don't know the laws at all, or you don't, you're not used to them, it's a lot different, or at least maybe the punishment too. People get away with murder in other third world countries all the time. People get away with theft all the time. It's a little bit different here in America.
Well, we'll see how the Commonwealth Attorney in Fairfax County, Steve Toscano, handles this. I think the community is very hopeful that he will handle this in an appropriate manner, and that if this person is actually found guilty or pleads guilty, again, there's been a confession, that person spends an awful lot of time behind bars.
Yeah, and I would hope, though, that Toscano and his office, they look at that policy with respect to illegal immigrants. Again, they give illegal immigrants preferential treatment when it comes to sentencing and plea deals, because they take into consideration the impact it could have on the possibility of them being deported. Yeah. So, that office literally says to themselves, well, if they get this bad conviction, they may be deported, and that would be bad for their family here. So we're not gonna give them the same sentence that we would give somebody else who's an American. These are all the things that are going to come into play as this person moves forward, and then whether he enters a guilty plea or goes to trial, we'll see. But the confession is pretty significant, I think.
All right, Carrie, thanks for jumping on this with us. Really appreciate it.
So, what do you guys think? What do you think should be the punishment for this guy? Now, President Trump just came out to address the nation. Let's listen in.
We have the highest stock market in the history of our country by far, every single month. That's another thing he should campaign. They like to demean that. The Democrats, well, that doesn't mean anything. That's just, no. That means jobs, and it means 401ks.
I actually did listen to President Trump, and I did start investing in the stock market. And over the past year, my investments are up over $90,000. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, very beginner friendly, step-by-step and easy, you can go to theFinanceZone.org, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can just scan this QR code and get started in a couple of minutes. Even one of you guys messaged me saying that your investments are up over $13,000 after taking the program. And right now, we have a 90% off sale that ends today, up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. I go over which stocks that Trump has, which stocks that I'm buying, how to set up an account for the very first time, and I also go into depth about how to take advantage of this time we're in while Trump is still president. It's not too late. A lot of these people are saying, look, there is this favoring going on of illegal immigrants.
In Fairfax County, Virginia, not far from where we're broadcasting right now, and about 6 miles or so from Langley, where the CIA headquarters are, a young mother, Carmen Lizette Pooch, was found stabbed to death near her car along a popular hiking trail. The suspect, 19-year-old Alexis Antonio Cedillos Campos, He's an illegal alien from El Salvador who came into the United States, you got it, under Joe Biden. According to police, the murder was premeditated, revealing the two individuals worked together.
Yeah, you had millions and millions of people coming in unvetted under Joe Biden, which again, it's like, a lot of these people could be very good people, but when you come in and there's no vetting at all, that's when people get slightly upset, and by slightly, I mean some people are extremely, extremely upset. And now police, I mean, look at this one. Police are searching for a man in Chucky-style mask, terrorizing residents. If you see this person walking around, be careful. Take a listen, guys.
Fox News alert police in Philadelphia searching for an unidentified man in a creepy Chucky doll-style Halloween mask. They say he's chasing down residents, harassing them, and yelling out threats. CB Cotton's following this story and has more. Hi, CB.
Hey, Dana, good morning. So Philadelphia police are still searching for the young man who they say terrorized several people while wearing a mask resembling Chucky from the horror movies. Surveillance photos show the suspect in all black, his face covered by the Chucky-like mask, resembling the deadly doll from the movie franchise. Police say this suspect targeted at least 6 people near Philadelphia City Hall in the early morning hours last Wednesday. Officers say he targeted men and women and had a cell phone appearing to record what was happening. Video captured the suspect chasing after a woman who was out jogging. Investigators say she was the one who alerted the police.
He's holding a cell phone up in front of her, at which time he asks her, "Are you ready to die?"
That's just some disturbing news. And I'll keep my eyes and ears open. That's quite scary. Yeah, no, thankfully I haven't seen this person.
So investigators describe the suspect as black, between 16 and 20 years old, about 5'8", wearing the baby doll mask with black hair and carrying a black-blue plaid backpack. Police have not made any arrest and say if you encounter someone like this, to call 911. Dana.
All right, CB Cotton, thank you for the update. Be sure.
Interesting. It's actually crazy that stuff is going on in America. There's a lot of this stuff going on, and this is actually an insane story too with Hakeem Jeffries, guys.
Fox News alert, Hakeem's got a big hooker problem on his home turf. And we have the shots. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork is here. What do you have, Kevin?
Good to be with you, Jesse. If it's another thug off the streets, that's not a real big deal, right? Arrests happen all the time. But when it's one of New York's most notorious pimps who was operating in the district of the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, well, that'll certainly get your attention. We're talking, of course, about 45-year-old Omari Prince Scott, finally caged at the end of July and sentenced to 50 years on charges of human trafficking and ordering the murder of a rival. But for many, one of the most compelling aspects of his trial was the window it opened into the seedy environs of the so-called Penn Track in East New York, Brooklyn, also known as the Blade, which, as mentioned, is in the district of Hakeem Jeffries. Now, sadly, according to the New York Post, despite Scott's conviction, it's still business as usual in this area, with dozens of women on the street selling sex for as little as $85 at a time. And the conditions are apparently worse than ever, according to local sex workers who spoke with the Post. In fact, one victim testified in the trial they never keep any of the money they make. It all goes back to the pimp, who, of course, then beats them and determines how the money is spent. On hotels, meals, clothing, hair products, and gold chains. Who knows? And perhaps worst of all, the abuse was so intense they testified that she couldn't even sleep until she made a certain amount of money, even if it was raining or snowing or meant working all night. And it's
whoa, that's crazy. I mean, why are they at Hakeem's house?
It's not just in Hakeem Jeffries' district.
Oh, it's his home district, not his home. I thought they were at his home. That's wild. Yeah, Hakeem needs to do something about this. This is illegal and sad.
This has also been a problem in the district of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a red light district. Now, these pics are from last year, but it is a persistent problem in their respect.
Why is this going on? It's clearly illegal. It's clearly not good. These women are most likely victims. A lot of these times they don't want to be out here. They don't have a choice, really. And secondly, it's like, why don't we give, bust these pimps, these guys leading, or whoever, these men or women leading the groups, and punish them, and then give some money or some type of plan housing to these, women, using all those taxes that the residents pay. Like, I would be totally fine to, if there was some sort of program to help these women.
Districts. Now, in response to the story in the Post, the NYPD touted the arrest of the neighborhood's top pimp, along with 90 human trafficking arrests over the World Cup, and they continue to patrol the area tonight. But it's a persistent problem that doesn't seem to be getting a lot of attention from either lawmaker, Jesse.
All right, well, Mondani's office says he's going to clean it up, and we'll see what he does. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll see. You bet.
Be sure to...
Very, very interesting, It's like, it's pretty sad stuff. Look at this illegal immigrant charge in brutal Florida, too. Isn't that where AOC is?
Illegal immigrants now accused in 2 separate murder cases in Florida, one in Jacksonville, the other Broward County. Madison Scarpino's in our Southeast Bureau takes us through it. Madison, hello.
Hey, Bill. Well, let's start in Jacksonville, where a local community member tells us that the 18-year-old victim has been here in America for several years. He was a legal refugee, but he was found dead with multiple gunshot wounds near a middle school last month. And now 4 illegal immigrants are charged with his murder. The guy all the way to the left is just 16 years old. The next is 17. The others 18 and 20. An ICE source tells Fox they don't know much about how the 16-year-old got here, but 2 of them entered the U.S. as unaccompanied children. 1 entered with family, and the source says at least those 3 all came here during the Biden administration, all coming from Honduras, Cuba, and Nicaragua, according to Jacksonville authorities. Now, while we don't know much about what led up to last month's killing, police reports reveal the victim and a few of the suspects were talking through WhatsApp days leading up to the murder, but authorities say they didn't know each other before that. And we did reach out to the Jacksonville mayor and several other city officials for comment on the case and have not heard back. But just this morning, Homeland Security posted on X about a separate murder allegedly at the hands of another illegal immigrant in Florida. This one happened near Miami earlier this month. HSI says this man was allegedly caught on surveillance footage chasing down his roommate with a machete, eventually stabbing and killing him. HSI says he too was here illegally from Nicaragua, and DHS Secretary Mark Wayne Mullin says if it were not for the Biden administration, the victim there would still be alive, and he is vowing to deport that suspect.
Wow.
Bill.
Wow, it's tough stuff. Again, Madison, thank you. Southeast Bureau. We'll watch it.
Very interesting stuff, especially with that. And look at this one, New York State Capitol attack. This is getting crazy, guys. And look at this one, ISIS-inspired plot. What the heck is going on? This is scary. ISIS FBI arrests woman over plan to bomb New York State Capitol. This is a huge, huge arrest, guys.
Next up, we want to talk about a big terror plot that was uncovered and stopped, thankfully, by...
And the White House was supposed to be next. Alleged terror plot stretched to D.C. They could be trying to go after Trump. I mean, could they be trying to go after Trump?
The FBI says it foiled an alleged terror plot in New York, arresting 35-year-old Albany resident Jessica Bowie, accused of supporting ISIS and plotting an attack on the state capitol. Federal authorities say she photographed the building, bought supplies at a hardware store, and planned to hide an explosive device inside a DoorDash delivery bag. But investigators say her alleged plans went even further. Listen to this.
Miss Bowie didn't just want to kill lawmakers. She wanted a complete disruption of our government. And after that, she planned to flee the country and one day come back to, quote, do more, such as New Year's Eve in Times Square. Even stating she would come back to attack the White House and the president. But only after she bombed the state capitol.
Damn.
Joining us now to discuss this is retired FBI agent and hostage negotiator Jason Pack. Jason, when you get down into the details of these allegations, they are just stunning. Look at this in the New York Post, which says, quote, she also discussed her belief that jihad is an obligation and recorded herself reciting a pledge of allegiance to ISIS, Bowie chillingly admitted that she went from a little girl waving an American flag after 9/11 to now having stickers of the falling towers. Jason, next month, we're going to be recognizing the 25th anniversary of the attack on 9/11. What does it say that we're still having this type of terrorism, these threats in our country? What does it say about our national security and the vigilance of law enforcement now?
Good morning, ma'am. There's a couple of things to unpack here. And as someone who responded to 9/11 for 6 weeks at Ground Zero there, it's very chilling to hear those words from someone. Despite the 25 years the U.S. government has been fighting terrorism now, I was on the JTTF myself as part of that battle. The army of ISIS may be gone, but the idea of ISIS remains live and well in the chat rooms and on the internet and on the dark places of the web. And I think what we're seeing here is a classic case of that. She wasn't really arrested for her ideology, as bad as that is. Those actions, those overt actions, getting those nails, doing the surveillance, those types of things are really what put this case on a fast track to take down.
Jason, just chilling, because we are also learning about how that ideology spread and reached this woman here in Albany. It was on social media. The investigator spoke about this also. Just listen to this, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Approximately 5 years ago, she converted to Islam. And within the last 4 to 6 months, we believe that radicalization turned to mobilization. She had a lot of social media profiles and was prolific online, espousing anti-American beliefs. And a lot of her accounts were closed due to violations of terms of service.
So, Jason, we are asking more and more questions of big tech and social media and what role it plays in our lives. What role does it play in spreading this type of harmful ideology? Is it helping track down these people, or is it actually infecting them and radicalizing them?
Well, I think it's both. This case appears to be what's called an online covert employee that maybe initiated this case. They are undercover FBI agents and other types of officers in these chat rooms, but they do that legally and in close coordination with the U.S. Attorney's Office to make sure that no line is crossed as far as entrapment is concerned. So I think it's important to remember that. It's not just agents behind the computer and on the keyboards trying to trick people into saying, hey, do you want to go blow up a courthouse? Just the opposite of that. You listen, you hear what they say, and when they engage in that conversation, then you develop that more. And this one led to the introduction of a human online, or a human undercover, and also a couple of confidential human sources out there. So really, in the span of the 5 months where it really ramped up, the case went pretty quickly because her ideology really turned into actions. And when you show up, they give you what you think is a bomb, and you're willing to go do it, even though all that was inert. That just really shows you how fast this propaganda can influence people.
Yeah, Jason, I was taking a look at the criminal complaint. I've got it right here, and it describes the incredible work of undercover law enforcement that they undertook for weeks to identify her and talk to her about her plans. And that's how they uncovered what her intentions were with the state capitol here in New York. Jason, in our final moments here, just talk to us about law enforcement and the incredible job they did to thwart this would-be attack.
It's interesting that you mentioned the criminal complaint. The probable cause is the level, but I think this exceeded probable cause pretty richly because there is so much detail in there. You see the photograph of her at the big box store buying the nails. You see all those things. This is some great work, and this is what the men and women of law enforcement do every day to keep Americans safe. What struck me, Lydia, is the special agent in charge that we saw there in the video said there have been 400 of these disruptions over the past couple of years. So even though the violent crime initiatives are in full view with this current administration, and it's important to keep violent crime down, they're not missing the ball on the terrorism aspect too, and I think that's proven through these types of cases.
That's incredibly interesting, but with all of this stuff, all these arrests going on, it's really actually helping our nation a lot and helping boost the economy. I mean, take a listen to what Donald Trump said about how our country is doing.
Rising market will do. Oh, it's going to get a lot higher. In fact, I told people 5 weeks ago, this is a great time to buy. I got criticized for that. Now they don't criticize me anymore. People should have listened. but it's going to go a lot higher. You see, we've never had anything like this happen. It's an explosion.
And I actually did listen to President Trump, and I did start investing in the stock market. And over the past year, my investments are up over $90,000. If you want to learn how to invest in the stock market, very beginner friendly, step-by-step and easy, you can go to theFinanceZone.org, or if you're watching this on your TV, you can just scan this QR code and get started in a couple of minutes. Even one of you guys messaged me saying that your investments are up over $13,000 after taking the program. And right now, we have a 90% off sale that ends today, up to $1,000 in bonus stocks inside the program. I go over which stocks that Trump has, which stocks that I'm buying, how to set up an account for the very first time, and I also go into depth about how to take advantage of this time we're in while Trump is still president. It's not too late.